The spaceship moved silently through the deep darkness of space. It was a large vessel called the Vindicator. It belonged to the Galactic Coalition. The Coalition was a group of many alien races who lived together in peace. They traveled across the stars looking for new planets and new resources. The commander of the Vindicator was named Xylos. He was a wise being with gray skin and large, dark eyes. He sat in his chair on the bridge, watching the stars streak by on the main screen. "Commander, we are approaching the sector," said the pilot. The pilot's name was Vex. He had 4 arms and used them all to control the ship's computer. "Slow down," Xylos ordered. "Our scans showed a strange energy signature here. We must find out what it is." The ship dropped out of light speed. The bright lines of stars on the screen turned back into single points of light. In front of them was a solar system. It was an old system. The star in the center was red and dying. It cast a dim, crimson light over the planets nearby. "Sensors are picking up a planet," Vex said. "It is the 3rd planet from the star. It is in the habitable zone. It has water and an atmosphere." "Is there life?" Xylos asked. "Yes, Commander," Vex replied. "But it is strange. There are large cities on the surface. There are many satellites in orbit. But the energy readings are very high. It looks like industrial pollution." Xylos stood up and walked to the large window. He looked at the small, blue and brown ball in the distance. "Are they advanced? Do they have spaceships?" "No, Commander," Vex said after a moment. "We see no ships leaving the planet. We see no signals coming from the star system. It looks like a lost colony. Maybe they crashed there long ago and forgot how to leave." "A lost colony," Xylos whispered. He felt a sense of pity. The Galactic Coalition had rules about finding new civilizations. They called it the Prime Directive. If a civilization was not advanced enough to travel between stars, the Coalition was supposed to watch them and not interfere. But sometimes, if the civilization was in danger, the Coalition would offer help. "Put the ship in a high orbit," Xylos said. "We will scan the surface. We need to know who lives there and if they need our help." The Vindicator moved closer to the planet. The planet had no name on the Coalition maps. But the people living there called it Bastion. Deep beneath the surface of Bastion, inside a mountain made of black rock, a large room was lit by blue screens. This was the command center. It was the heart of the human colony. Hundreds of men and women worked at computers. They wore simple gray uniforms. They did not look like scientists or explorers. They looked like soldiers. They were serious and focused. In the center of the room stood a man named Alex. He was the prime director of Bastion. He was an older man with gray hair and a face lined with worry. He stared at a large screen on the wall. The screen showed a map of the space around the planet. Suddenly, a red light began to flash on the screen. A loud siren sounded once. "Report!" Alex shouted. His voice was loud and commanding. A young woman stood up from her console. Her name was Lisa. She was the radar operator. "Sir, we have a contact in high orbit. It just dropped out of light speed. It is huge. Mass is approximately 5 million tons." The room became very quiet. Everyone stopped typing. They all looked at Alex. "Is it a rock, a comet?" Alex asked. "No, sir," Lisa said. "It is slowing down. It is changing course to match our rotation. It is a ship." Alex took a deep breath. For 300 years, the people of Bastion had waited for this moment. Their ancestors had escaped from a great war and crashed on this planet. They had lost their technology. They had to start over. They believed that one day, the enemy who destroyed their old home would come back to finish the job. So, they did not build schools or hospitals. They built bunkers. They built factories. They built weapons. They prepared for war. Design, Alex said. Can we see the design of the ship? On the main screen, a fuzzy image appeared. It was long and silver. It had smooth curves and looked very elegant. It was not like the human ships of the past. It was alien. Aliens, Alex whispered. He felt a cold chill in his stomach. The prophecy was true. They are scanning us, Lisa said. They are using active radar. Alex walked to the communication console. Next to it stood a tall, strong man named Ryan. Ryan was the head of ground forces. He had a scar on his cheek and eyes that had seen too much fighting. What are the orders? Director Ryan asked. His hand rested on his belt, near his gun. Alex looked at the image of the alien ship. He did not know if they were friendly. He did not know if they were the enemy. But he knew one thing, Bastion could not take risks. Are they trying to talk to us? Alex asked. No, sir, Lisa said. They are just scanning. They are scanning our cities, our power grids, and our weapon sites. Alex narrowed his eyes. They are looking for weaknesses. Shall we mobilize the fleet? Ryan asked. We can launch the orbital fighters. No, Alex said. Our fighters are old. They would be destroyed in seconds. If we fight now, we lose. We need to show them that we are not helpless. We need to show them that we see them. Alex looked at the communications officer. Target the main laser array on the largest mountain near their orbit. Do not fire a weapon. Fire a targeting laser. Paint their ship. The officer nodded. Yes, sir. Firing now. High in the orbit around Bastion, Commander Xylos was sipping a warm drink. The scans are nearly complete, he said to Vex. The atmosphere is breathable. The civilization appears to be pre-warp. They are using fossil fuels and nuclear fission. How primitive. Suddenly, a bright red light hit the window of the Vindicator. Alert, alert. The computer voice shouted. We are being painted by a targeting laser. Xylos dropped his cup. What a targeting laser from the surface. Origin confirmed, Vex said, his forearms moving fast over the controls. It is coming from the northern continent. It is a high-powered laser. It is locked onto our reactor core. Xylos stared at the red light on the window. It was a small dot, but it meant something big. It was a warning. It meant, we know you are there. We can hurt you. I thought you said they were primitive. Xylos yelled. I was wrong, Commander. Vex replied. The energy signature from the laser, it is military grade. This is not a peaceful signal. Down in the command center, Alex watched the screen. He knew the laser had hit them. He knew they would be scared. He leaned into the microphone. Open a channel, Alex said. Use the universal wideband. Send a message in mathematical code. Simple code. The channel opened. Alien vessel, Alex said. His voice was cold and hard. You are in a restricted war zone. Identify yourself immediately or you will be fired upon. On the bridge of the Vindicator, the message came through. It was harsh and loud. It was not a greeting. It was a threat. Restricted war zone, Xylos asked. He was confused. We are in space. How can a planet be a war zone? Sir, look at the surface, Vex said. Vex changed the view on the main screen. He zoomed in on the northern continent where the laser came from. The image became clear. Xylos gasped. He did not see a beautiful city. He did not see green fields. He saw miles and miles of bunkers. He saw massive metal guns pointing at the sky. He saw factory smoke covering the land. He saw soldiers training in the thousands. This is no colony, Xylos said, his voice shaking. This is a fortress. He realized his mistake. He thought the humans were lost sheep. But they were wolves. They were trapped in a cage, waiting for a fight. Sir, they are powering up their main guns, Vex warned. If we stay here, they will shoot. Xylos looked at the red light on the window. He looked at the image of the war-filled planet. He knew he had to make a choice. He could run back to the coalition and tell them what he found. Or he could stay and risk his ship. Hold position, Xylos said. But raise shields. Do not fire back. We must not start a war. Director, Lisa said from the command center. They raised shields. But they are not leaving. Alex smiled a cold smile. They are scared. Good. Fear makes them listen. He looked at Ryan. Prepare the ground forces. If they send a shuttle, we will be ready. Ryan nodded and picked up his phone. This is it. The time has come. The atmosphere on the planet was tense. The soldiers checked their rifles. The tank crews started their engines. The civilians hid in the deep shelters. Everyone on Bastion knew that today, the silence of the last 300 years was broken. The aliens were here, and Bastion was ready. Alex sat back in his chair. He watched the alien ship on the screen. He remembered the stories his grandfather told him. Stories about Earth. Stories about how humanity was almost destroyed. He promised himself that would not happen again. We will not fall, Alex whispered to himself. Above the planet, the Vindicator floated like a silver bird over a nest of angry hornets. The crew watched the planet with fear and respect. They had discovered a lost human colony. But it was not a colony of victims. It was a colony of warriors. And they were already preparing for war. The red warning light on the bridge of the Vindicator continued to flash, casting a rhythmic glow over the alien crew. Commander Xylos stood frozen, staring at the main screen. The image of the planet below was terrifying. It was not the green and blue world of peace that the coalition usually found. It was a gray, scarred sphere covered in smoke and artificial lights. Sir, Vex said, his forehands shaking slightly as he adjusted the sensors, the targeting laser is still locked onto our reactor core. They are not blinking. They are not signaling. They are just waiting. Xylos took a deep breath. He had to follow the protocols of the Galactic Coalition. The most important rule was communication. Before any conflict, civilized beings must talk. He could not just fire on them, and he could not run away like a coward. They are aggressive because they are afraid, Xylos told his crew. They do not know who we are. We must show them we mean no harm. Prepare a shuttle. I will go down there myself. The crew gasped. Commander, that is dangerous. The tactical officer said. They clearly have weapons. They fired a warning shot at us from orbit. Their ground forces are mobilizing. That is why I must go, Xylos said firmly. If I send a robot, they will shoot it. If I send a soldier, they will start a war. I must send a diplomat. I will go alone. An hour later, a small, sleek shuttle detached from the Vindicator. It was painted white to symbolize peace. It descended slowly toward the planet's surface, escorted by two small spherical drones to record the meeting. Inside the shuttle, Xylos sat alone. He looked out the window as the ship entered the atmosphere. The sky was dark red because of the dying star, but thick clouds of industrial smoke made it look almost black. As they dropped lower, Xylos saw the true extent of the colony. There were no fields of crops. There were no parks or swimming pools. The land was covered in massive concrete squares, bunkers and barracks. Huge metal towers stood like giants, pointing radar dishes and weapons at the sky. Vehicles moved in perfect lines on the ground, all painted in dark gray colors. It was a world that had been built for only one purpose: survival through war. The shuttle banked toward a large, flat plain near the capital city. As they came in for a landing, Xylos saw thousands of soldiers standing in formation. They were not cheering. They were not waving. They stood in perfect silence, holding rifles that looked old but heavy. The shuttle landed softly. The ramp lowered, and Xylos walked out. He wore his formal white robes. The air smelled of oil and ozone. It was cold. In front of the shuttle stood a line of humans. They did not look like the explorers Xylos had read about. They wore heavy armor with helmets that covered their faces. They stood like statues. Xylos stopped at the bottom of the ramp. He raised his hand in the universal sign of peace. He spoke through his translator, which projected his voice loudly and clearly. "I am Commander Xylos of the Galactic Coalition," he said. "I come in peace. We mean you no harm." For a moment, there was silence. Then, the soldiers stepped aside. Two humans walked forward. One was a woman with sharp eyes and short black hair. She wore a long coat and walked with confidence. Her name was Elena. She was the director of foreign affairs for Bastion. Beside her walked a giant of a man. He was tall and muscular, carrying a heavy rifle. His name was Mark. He was the Special Operations Commander. Elena looked at Xylos. She did not smile. She did not raise her hand. She looked at him as if he were a bug she was about to crush. "I am Elena," she said. "This is Mark. You have trespassed in our territory. You have 5 minutes to explain why we should not destroy your ship." Xylos was taken aback by her rudeness. Usually, new civilizations were happy to meet aliens. They were curious. They were eager to learn. Elena acted like he was a criminal. "We are explorers," Xylos said gently. "We travel the stars. We found your planet by accident. We wish to offer you friendship. We can give you medicine, technology, and protection. We want you to join the Galactic Coalition." Mark laughed. It was a harsh, dry laugh. "Protection? We don't need your protection. And we certainly don't need your technology." Elena stepped closer. "Look at my planet, Xylos. Do you see any gardens? Do you see any art? No. You see bunkers and guns. We have been alone here for 300 years. We know what lives in the dark. We know that when someone stronger knocks on your door, they don't bring gifts. They bring chains." Xylos shook his head. "You are mistaken. The coalition is not like that. We have thousands of members. We live in harmony. You have been isolated for too long. You have forgotten how to trust. Trust gets you killed, Mark said, his hand gripping his rifle tighter. Trust is a luxury for people who are safe. We are not safe. We prepare. Xylos tried to remain calm. Please, listen to me. We have no intention of fighting. Look at our ship. It is unarmed. We are just here to talk. You are scanning our defense grids, Elena said coldly. You are mapping our bunkers. You are looking for weak points. Don't lie to me, Xylos, it insults my intelligence. I am telling the truth. Xylos insisted. Why would we attack you? You have no resources we need. Your planet is dying. Your star is fading. We only wanted to help you before it was too late. Elena's eyes narrowed. So you came to pity us. You came to save the poor humans because we are too weak to save ourselves. Mark stepped forward, his face inches from Xylos. The translator buzzed as Mark spoke. We are not weak. We are survivors. And we are ready to die to keep what is ours. Xylos took a step back. He could feel the hatred radiating from these humans. He realized that his words were useless. Their entire culture was built on the belief that the universe was an enemy. To them, his offer of peace was just a trap. A trick to lower their guard. I see that we cannot agree right now, Xylos said slowly. I will leave. I will return to my ship and tell the council that you are not ready to join us. Elena shook her head. You misunderstand, Xylos. You are not going anywhere yet. You will stay here until we say you can go. We need to inspect your shuttle. We need to make sure you didn't bring a bomb. This is an act of war. Xylos cried out. This is an act of survival, Elena replied. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the air. Mark looked up. He tapped his earpiece. Report, he said. A voice crackled in his ear. It was David, the infantry commander. Sir, the alien ship in orbit has powered up its engines. It looks like it is preparing to attack. Elena looked at Xylos. Call your ship. Tell them to stand down. It is not my ship, Xylos lied, trying to protect his crew. It is a backup plan. Liar! Mark shouted. He pointed his rifle at Xylos's chest. Tell them to stop, or I will kill you right here. At that moment, Xylos realized the depth of the misunderstanding. He looked around at the thousands of soldiers. He saw the snipers on the hills, their red laser dots covering his shuttle. He saw the tanks rolling out from behind the buildings. He saw the sky light up as massive missile silos opened their roofs. This was not a greeting party. This was an army waiting for a trigger. Do it! Mark yelled, pushing the barrel of the gun into Xylos's chest. Xylos raised his wrist communicator. Vex, he said, his voice shaking. Do not fire. Repeat, do not fire. I am, in negotiations. On the bridge of the Vindicator, Vex heard the fear in the commander's voice. He looked at the tactical map. The surface of the planet was glowing with heat signatures. Millions of weapons were active. Sir, we have to get you out of there. Vex said. The ground forces are targeting the landing zone. No, Xylos said. If we fire, they will destroy the shuttle. Hold. On the ground, Elena watched Xylos closely. She saw the fear in his large eyes, but she also saw that he did not order an attack. She lowered her voice. Mark, stand down, she said. Mark looked at her, surprised. He is threatening us, Elena. No, she said, he is scared. He is a bureaucrat. He is not a soldier. She looked back at Xylos. You have 10 minutes to get back to your shuttle and leave the system. If you are not gone by then, we will fire everything we have at your ship. Our missiles may not be as fast as yours, but there are millions of them. We will bury you in debris. Xylos nodded. He understood. It was a race against time. I will go, Xylos said. He turned and walked back up the ramp. As the shuttle doors closed, he felt the weight of the situation. The coalition had found a lost human colony, but they had found a monster of their own creation. These humans had turned fear into a weapon. They did not want peace, they wanted to be left alone in their dark fortress. The shuttle lifted off rapidly. As it soared back into the sky, Mark watched it go. He turned to Elena. We should have shot it down. No, Elena said, watching the silver dot disappear into the clouds. Now we know what they are. They are soft. They rely on talking. We can use that. She looked at the dark, industrial city around her. Alex was right. They are not coming to save us. They are coming to absorb us. And we will not be absorbed. She tapped her earpiece. Director Alex. The visitors have left. But I do not think they are gone for good. In the bunker deep below, Alex listened to Elena. I know, Alex said. They will return. And when they do, they will not come with a white flag. They will come with guns. Prepare the fleet. We go to full alert. The war drums of Bastion were beating louder than ever. The first contact was over. It had not been a celebration. It had been a warning shot across the bow of history. The silence of 300 years was over, and the humans of Bastion were ready for the fight of their lives. Xylos sat in his chair on the bridge of the Vindicator, his hands gripping the armrests tightly. The shuttle had just docked, and he had returned safely, but his mind was racing with fear and anger. The images of the planet below were burned into his memory. The gray concrete, the endless weapons, the cold eyes of the woman named Elena. It was not the greeting of a lost colony, it was the challenge of a rival empire. Report, Xylos said, his voice low. Vex, the pilot, turned in his seat. The shuttle is secure, Commander. But we have a bigger problem. The Galactic Coalition Council has received our report. They are not happy. Put them on the screen, Xylos ordered. The large screen flickered to life. The faces of 3 high counselors appeared. They were ancient beings with telepathic abilities, known for their wisdom. But today, their faces looked stern. Commander Xylos, the central counselor said. Your report is disturbing. You say this lost human colony threatens you that they fired a laser at your ship. Yes, Excellency, Xylos replied. They are militarized. They do not follow the path of peace. They view us as enemies. They demanded we leave immediately. The counselor on the left spoke next. This is unacceptable. A primitive species threatening a coalition vessel, it is an insult to our authority. If we allow this aggression to go unpunished, other worlds may rebel. We must show them the strength of the coalition. We do not want a war, Xylos argued. They are strong. They have defenses we did not expect. If we attack, many will die. We do not need to destroy them, the central counselor said. We need to pacify them. We will send a fleet to show force. Once they see the might of our armada, they will surrender. Then, we can disarm them and bring them into the fold properly. Prepare the Vindicator and the 2 heavy cruisers, the Justice and the Hammer. Encircle the planet. Disable their weapons if they fire. Do not destroy the planet, but make them submit. Xylos wanted to object. He remembered the cold look in Mark's eyes. He remembered the thousands of snipers on the hills. But he could not disobey a direct order from the council. Yes, Excellency, Xylos said. It will be done. On the surface of Bastion, the mood was intense. In the massive command center, Alex stood before the main tactical map. The red lights were flashing everywhere. The news that the alien ship had returned, this time with 2 more massive ships, had spread like wildfire. They are taking positions, Lisa, the radar operator, shouted. They have formed a triangle around the planet. They are blocking our escape routes. Alex nodded slowly. As expected. They did not like our warning. Ryan, the head of ground forces, walked up to Alex. He checked his heavy pistol and holstered it. They want to intimidate us, Ryan said. They think that because they have big shiny ships, we will bow down. They think we are primitives playing soldier. Are we ready? Alex asked. We were born ready, Ryan said. But Alex, our ships, the orbital fighters are old. They are not fast like theirs. If we go out there, we might lose them all. Alex looked at the map. He knew Ryan was right. In space, the aliens had the advantage. But space was not the only battlefield. We don't need to beat them in space, Alex said calmly. We just need to break their formation. Jessica, are the planetary mass drivers ready? Jessica, the chief engineer, looked up from her console. She wiped grease from her forehead. The mass drivers are charged, Director. But they are meant for asteroids, not capital ships. If we fire them, the recoil will shake the continent. And the aliens will see it coming. Good, Alex said. I want them to see it. Suddenly, a voice came over the loudspeakers. It was Xylos, broadcast to every radio and speaker on the planet. People of Bastion, Xylos' voice boomed. This is Commander Xylos of the Galactic Coalition. You are in violation of interstellar peace. You have attacked a coalition vessel. By order of the High Council, you are ordered to surrender immediately. Lay down your weapons and power down your defense grids. If you refuse, we will disable your systems by force. You have 1 hour. In the city streets, millions of people heard the message. But they did not panic. They did not run into the streets crying. Instead, they picked up their rifles. They put on their helmets. The factories worked faster, producing ammunition. The civilians went to their battle stations. To the people of Bastion, surrender was a dirty word. It meant death. They knew that if they surrendered, the aliens would take their weapons, and then they would be helpless when the real enemy came. Did you hear that? Mark said, standing on a rooftop next to Elena. The wind blew his short hair. They want us to surrender. Elena laughed softly. She looked up at the sky, where the alien ships were visible as bright dots in the early evening. They really don't know us at all. She looked at Mark. Give the order. All units, assume combat positions. If they try to land troops, make the beaches red with their blood. Yes, ma'am, Mark said. He spoke into his radio. All commanders, hold fire until the director gives the signal. But be ready. This ends today. High above the planet, Xylos watched the clock tick down. The hour passed. The weapons on the surface did not power down. In fact, the energy readings increased. They are not surrendering, Vex said. They are powering up their main cannons. Very well, Xylos said sadly. Target their ground batteries. Fire warning shots. Disable them, do not harm the population centers. 3 beams of bright blue energy shot down from the coalition ships. They were precision lasers, designed to melt electronics. They struck the surface, targeting the missile silos and radar dishes. But before the lasers could hit the ground, they struck a glowing blue net. A massive energy shield shimmered into existence over the continent. The blue lasers hit the shield and splashed harmlessly into the sky, lighting up the clouds. A shield, Xylos shouted. How can a primitive planet have a planetary shield? It is not a standard shield, Vex said, analyzing the data. It is crude. It is being powered by multiple nuclear reactors on the ground. It is vibrating. It is not stable, but it is holding. Fire again. Xylos ordered. Concentrate fire on one spot. The coalition fleet unleashed a barrage of missiles and plasma bolts. They rained down on Bastion. But the shield held. The sky above the human colony turned into a storm of light and color as the alien weapons crashed against the human barrier. In the command center, the room shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. Shield holding at 80%, Jessica shouted. The reactors are overloading. We can't take this much punishment for long. Hold it. Alex yelled. We just need to make them angry. We need to make them come closer. They are already close. Ryan shouted. Alex looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were staying in high orbit, out of range of most surface weapons. They were safe up there, throwing rocks down at the fortress. Jessica, Alex said. Target the mass drivers. I want you to fire at the empty space behind their ships. Behind them, Jessica asked. Why? Just do it. Jessica gritted her teeth. She typed the command into her console. Deep inside the largest mountains on the planet, huge railguns the size of skyscrapers began to hum. They were mass drivers. They used magnetic fields to fire heavy metal slugs at incredible speeds. With a deafening roar that shook the entire planet, the mass drivers fired. Massive projectiles, each weighing tons, shot into space. They moved so fast that they were invisible to the naked eye. The projectiles missed the coalition ships entirely, flying past them into the void. Incoming fire! Vex shouted on the bridge. Wait, they missed. They have terrible aim, Xylos said, confused. Fire the main batteries at the shield generators. Breakthrough! The coalition ships moved their positions to dodge the useless fire. They turned their broadsides to face the planet, pouring all their power into the human shield. Suddenly, the projectiles that the humans had fired changed course. In space, the metal slugs deployed small thrusters. They were not dumb rocks, they were smart minds. They turned around and slammed into the rear engines of the coalition cruisers. The explosion was silent in the vacuum of space, but the flash was blinding. The Justice, one of the heavy cruisers, shuddered as its engines were destroyed. It began to drift, dead in the water. Debris from the explosion flew outward, creating a cloud of dust and metal shards. They tricked us! Xylos screamed. It was a trap. The debris field from the destroyed ship was now spinning rapidly. It acted like a cloud of buckshot, making it impossible for the other ships to maneuver without getting shredded. The neat formation of the coalition fleet was broken. Now. Alex shouted in the bunker. Open fire with all ground batteries. Aim for the damaged ship and the debris field. Box them in. Thousands of missiles and railgun shells rose from the surface. They didn't target the ships directly. They targeted the space around them. The humans were turning the space above their planet into a deadly labyrinth. The aliens were swift and elegant, but they were used to fighting in open space. They were not used to fighting an enemy that used the environment itself as a weapon. Xylos watched in horror as the hammer took a hit to its bridge. The aliens had superior technology, but the humans had something else. They had total lack of fear. They were willing to destroy their own orbit to win. We have to retreat, Vex said. We are sitting ducks in this debris field. No, Xylos said, watching the planet burn with defensive fire. We cannot retreat. They will never stop. We have to land troops and take the bunkers by force. But before he could give the order, the sensors picked up a new energy spike. Commander! Vex yelled. They are launching something else. It's not a missile, it's a rock. A big one. The humans had captured an asteroid years ago and put it in orbit. Now, they were using their mass drivers to push it out of orbit, sending it straight toward the coalition fleet. It was a terrifying, primitive weapon. A kinetic kill vehicle. Evasive maneuvers. Xylos screamed. Move the ship. The battle had truly begun. The humans of Bastion were not fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to win. And the Galactic Coalition was realizing, too late, that they had poked a hornet's nest, and the hornets were armed with nuclear weapons. The space above Bastion was no longer peaceful. The debris from the damaged Coalition cruiser, the Justice, floated in a giant, slow-moving cloud. It acted like a trap. The remaining alien ships could not move fast without hitting the broken metal pieces. Commander Xylos watched from the bridge of the Vindicator. He felt fear, but he also felt anger. He realized that the humans were not just lucky, they were very smart. The debris field is blocking our targeting sensors, Vex shouted. His four hands flew across the controls, trying to clear the interference. And that asteroid they pushed toward us is moving faster. It will hit our position in 10 minutes. Xylos knew he had to act. Launch the ground invasion, he ordered. If we cannot break their shield from above, we will turn it off from below. Send all drop pods. Target the planes outside their main cities. Commander, is that wise? Vex asked. The ground forces will be cut off from support. We have no choice, Xylos said. If we do not destroy their generators, that asteroid will crush us. Go. Hundreds of small, egg-shaped drop pods ejected from the underside of the alien ships. They burned through the atmosphere like meteors. Inside each pod were 20 alien shock troopers. They had blue energy shields and plasma rifles. They were the best soldiers in the galaxy. They expected the humans to run in terror when they landed. But the humans did not run. On the surface, in the gray wastelands outside the capital, Ryan stood in the hatch of his tank. He wore a headset and looked at the sky. The black dots of the alien pods were getting bigger. They are coming, Ryan said into his radio. Everyone hold your fire. Let them land. The alien pods hit the ground with loud thuds, digging craters into the hard earth. The ramps opened, and the blue-armored alien soldiers rushed out. They formed a perimeter, their energy shields glowing. Fire! Ryan screamed. The hills around the landing zone exploded with noise. Thousands of human soldiers opened fire. They did not use energy weapons. They used kinetic guns, railguns and heavy machine guns that fired metal bullets at incredible speeds. The alien shields flared blue as the bullets hit them. The shields were strong, but the humans had studied the shields for a long time. They knew that constant, rapid fire drained the shields faster than big blasts. Focus fire on one target, David yelled, leading a squad of infantry. Take down the left flank. The humans poured thousands of bullets into a single squad of aliens. The alien shields flickered and died. Then, the bullets tore through the alien armor. The advanced, elegant soldiers fell to the ground, defeated by simple, heavy lead. In the center of the battlefield, an alien commander raised his weapon. He tried to call for an evacuation, but his comms were jammed. The humans were using signal jammers on trucks, creating a wall of noise that blocked alien communications. They are jamming us, the alien commander shouted. We cannot coordinate. Without orders, the alien units broke apart. They were used to fighting in a perfect network, talking to each other with their minds. The silence made them panic. David saw the confusion. Charge. Don't let them regroup. The humans moved forward. They wore heavy exoskeleton suits that made them stronger and faster. They ran across the battlefield, jumping over craters. They fought with a brutal, angry style. When they got close, they didn't just shoot, they used grenades and combat knives. They wanted the aliens to know they were fighting for their lives. Meanwhile, in the urban sectors, the battle was even closer. Mark led the special operations team through the ruined streets of the outer city. The aliens had landed a pod in the middle of a street, hoping to use the buildings for cover. They are in the Sector 4 square, Mark said. Cut the power. The city went dark instantly. The humans had night vision goggles. The aliens relied on their helmet displays, which were now glitching because of the jammers. Move, Mark whispered. He climbed up a fire escape and lay on the roof. Below, the alien squad was moving carefully, their lights flashing. Mark raised his rifle. He took a deep breath and fired. 3 shots. 3 aliens fell. The rest panicked and started shooting wildly at the buildings. Now. Mark signaled. From the windows and alleys, human soldiers appeared. They threw homemade flashbang grenades, blinding lights and loud sounds that stunned the aliens. Then, they stormed the street. It was a trap. The aliens were surrounded. They surrendered quickly, throwing down their weapons. Back in the command center, Alex watched the battle on the screens. The invasion was failing. But the shield was still holding. Report on the asteroid, Alex asked. The asteroid is entering the upper atmosphere, Jessica said. It is going to miss the cities, but the shockwave will be huge. In space, Xylo saw the asteroid coming. He also saw that his ground troops were being destroyed. We have to stop that asteroid, Vex yelled. Use the main laser. Cut it in half. Xylos aimed the ship's main weapon, but just as he was about to fire, a human fighter jet appeared. It was old and rusty, but it was fast. It flew directly in front of the Vindicator's laser cannons. It dropped a single metal canister. What is that? Xylos asked. It's a chaff cloud, Vex said. Metal shards. The canister exploded, spreading a cloud of tiny metal needles in front of the alien ship. When the laser fired, it hit the cloud and scattered harmlessly in all directions. The laser missed the asteroid. The asteroid slammed into the side of the damaged cruiser, the Justice. The force of the impact pushed the cruiser out of orbit. It began to fall toward the planet, burning up in the atmosphere. It looked like a second moon falling from the sky. The sky is falling. A human soldier shouted on the ground. But they did not stop fighting. They cheered. Ryan looked at the burning ship falling. That is one less ship to worry about, he said. Keep pushing. The fall of the cruiser created a massive shockwave when it entered the atmosphere. The wind knocked over alien walkers and disrupted their hover tanks. The humans, planted firmly on the ground, held their positions. In the city, Mark looked at the sky. They are breaking, he said to Elena, who was watching from a bunker. Don't celebrate yet, Elena said. The big ship is still there. And Xylos is angry. She was right. On the bridge of the Vindicator, Xylos was gripping his chair so hard his knuckles turned white. He looked at the tactical map. His ground forces were retreating or captured. His friendly ship was destroyed. And the humans were still fighting. They are savages, Xylos whispered. They fight like animals. They are winning, Commander, Vex said quietly. We have lost air superiority. Our ground troops are cut off. If we stay, we will lose the Vindicator too. Xylos looked down at the planet. He could see the fires burning. He could see the determination of the humans. They were not fighting for territory or money. They were fighting for their home. They were fighting because they believed the universe was trying to kill them. And in a way, Xylos realized, he had proved them right. He came in peace, but he brought war. Prepare the engines, Xylos said. We are leaving. But Commander, the Council. I do not care about the Council right now. Xylos shouted. I will not lose my ship and my crew today. Plot a course out of the system. We will jump to light speed as soon as we are clear of the gravity well. Vex quickly typed the commands. The engines of the Vindicator roared to life. The ship turned away from the planet, aiming for the stars. Sir, they are firing on us again, Vex warned. The ground batteries. The humans saw the alien ship turning to run. They opened fire with everything they had. Missiles and railgun shells filled the space around the Vindicator. The ship's shields took hit after hit. They flickered and failed. Hull breach in Sector 4. A crewman yelled, we have fires in the engine room. Hold together. Xylos yelled. Just get us out of here. The ship accelerated. It dodged the largest debris. It pushed through the wall of fire. Finally, with a flash of light, the Vindicator disappeared. It jumped into light speed, leaving the solar system behind. Down in the command center, the red light stopped flashing. The sirens turned off. The main screen showed empty space. Lisa looked at her screen, then at Alex. They are gone, sir. The room was silent for a moment. Then, someone started to clap. It was Jessica. Then Ryan started clapping. Soon, the entire command center was cheering. They had done the impossible. They had fought off the Galactic Coalition. Alex stood up. He did not cheer. He looked tired. He looked at the empty spot on the screen where the alien ship had been. Good work, everyone, Alex said. Now, start the damage control reports. I want to know how many people we lost. He walked out of the room. He knew the battle was over, but he also knew it was not the end. The aliens would be back. And next time, they would bring a bigger fleet. But for now, Bastion was safe. Outside, in the gray light of the dying star, the people of Bastion walked out of their bunkers. They looked at the sky. They saw the smoke trails of the battle. They saw the burning remains of the alien cruiser falling to the earth. They felt proud. They were alone in the dark, but they were strong. They were the survivors. The silence that fell over Bastion was heavy, but it was not a peaceful silence. It was the silence of people holding their breath, waiting to see if the nightmare was truly over. The sirens had stopped screaming, but the smoke still rose from the burning cities and the plains outside. The large alien ship, the Vindicator, had fled, disappearing into the deep blackness of space like a frightened dog. Inside the command center, the mood was tense. The cheering had stopped quickly. The reality of the battle settled in. Alex stood in front of the main screen, watching the empty space where the enemy had been. His face was gray with exhaustion. He looked at the list of numbers on his tablet. It was a list of the dead and the wounded. "Report," Alex said softly. Ryan walked into the room. He had removed his helmet, but his face was still covered in dust and sweat. There was a fresh bandage on his arm. He looked tired, but his eyes were bright. "We won, Director," Ryan said. "The enemy is gone." "But the price was high." "How many?" Alex asked. 3,000 dead, Ryan said. 2,000 wounded. The city shields held, but the outer defenses took a beating. We lost 3 bunkers in the plains. And the alien ship that crashed, it caused a lot of fires. We are still trying to put them out. Alex nodded slowly. It was a terrible price. But for a planet of 10 million people, it was a price they could pay. And the enemy, what did we learn from them? They were arrogant, Ryan said. They thought their shields would save them. They thought we would just surrender. They weren't ready for a fight where the weaker side refuses to stay down. Mark entered the room next, followed by Elena. Mark looked angry. He paced back and forth. "They ran away," Mark said. "They turned tail and ran. We should have chased them. We should have hit them while they were weak. We don't have ships that can chase them into light speed, Mark," Elena said calmly. She was cleaning a pair of glasses on her jacket. "Chasing them would have been suicide. They left because they were scared. That is enough for today." Alex walked over to the large tactical map. "They are scared now. But fear can turn into anger. They will go back to their coalition. They will tell them what happened. They will say that we are monsters. They will say that we are dangerous. Aren't we?" Mark asked, stopping his pacing. Elena looked up. "We are survivors, Mark. There is a difference." Alex looked at the group. He looked at Ryan, the soldier. He looked at Mark, the warrior. He looked at Elena, the voice of reason. He looked at Jessica, who was asleep in the corner chair, still covered in grease from the generators. "We need to prepare for the next time," Alex said. "The coalition is huge. They have thousands of ships. Today, we fought 3. Next time, they might bring 100. We cannot beat them with just guns and grit forever." "What can we do?" Ryan asked. "We have maxed out our production. We are building ships and weapons as fast as we can. We need to change the way they see us," Alex said. "We sent a message today. We told them that if they come here, they will bleed. But we also need a second message. We need to tell them that we can be left alone. We need to show them that we are not interested in conquering them. We only want to be left in peace." "How do we do that?" Elena asked. "They think we are barbarians." Alex walked to the communication console. "Open a channel." Broadband. Send it to the coordinates where their ship jumped. Even if they are gone, the signal will travel. Send it in their language. Use the code we broke from their computer. The officer nodded. Channel open, Director. Alex took a deep breath. He spoke slowly and clearly. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He spoke with the dignity of a leader who had just saved his people. This is Alex, Prime Director of Bastion, he said. You came to our home. You brought your ships and your threats. You thought we would bow to you. You were wrong. We have fought you, and we have survived. Do not make the mistake of thinking we wanted this war. We did not fire the first shot today. But we fired the last one. He paused for a moment. We are the children of Earth, lost and forgotten. We do not want your help. We do not want your civilization. We want to be left alone. If you come back, we will be ready. And next time, the cost will be even higher. Go back to your stars, leave us to ours. This is our only warning. Alex signaled to cut the feed. Send it on a loop. Let it play for a week. High above the planet, far away where the human eye could not see, the signal traveled through the vacuum. It chased the retreating alien ship. On the bridge of the Vindicator, the mood was funereal. The ship was damaged. Sparks fell from the ceiling, and the smell of burnt wire filled the air. The crew members worked in silence, fixing the hull and the engines. They were no longer the proud explorers. They were defeated warriors. Xylos sat in his chair, staring at the star lines of light speed. He replayed the battle in his mind. He saw the primitive human weapons. He saw the fear in the eyes of his own crew. Commander, Vex said softly. We are approaching the coalition station. They are hailing us. Put them on, Xylos said. The face of the High Counselor appeared on the screen. The counselor looked angry. Commander Xylos. Report. Why have you returned? Did you pacify the colony? Xylos took a deep breath. He knew he would be punished. He knew his career might be over. But he had to tell the truth. The coalition could not fight a war based on lies. No, Excellency, Xylos said. We failed. The counselor's face turned red. Failed? You had 3 cruisers against a primitive planet. How could you fail? They are not primitive, Xylos said. They are something else. They have technology we have never seen. They have a will we cannot break. We destroyed their cities, and they thanked us for the target practice. We shot their soldiers, and they kept coming. They do not fear death, Excellency. They welcome it if it means they can take us with them. The counselor stood up. Excuses. You are incompetent. I am telling you the truth, Xylos said, his voice rising. They sent a message. I am forwarding it to you now. Listen to it. If you send a fleet, do not send a few ships. Send 1,000. Because if you send a few, they will die. And the humans of Bastion will build monuments out of their wreckage. Xylos cut the connection. He slumped back in his chair. Back on the surface, Alex, Ryan, and Elena walked out of the bunker and stood on a balcony overlooking the capital. The sun was setting, casting a long, bloody shadow over the city. The smoke from the battle was rising into the sky, mixing with the clouds. They watched the rescue teams working in the streets. They saw people hugging each other, crying tears of joy that they were alive. They saw soldiers helping civilians clear the rubble. Do you think they will listen? Ryan asked, looking at the sky. I don't know, Alex said. Arrogance is hard to cure. But today, we made a scar on them. They will remember us. Jessica walked up to them. She was holding a cup of coffee. She looked at the horizon. The generators are back online, she said. The shield is holding at full power. And I finished the blueprints for the new orbital cannon. Alex smiled. He put a hand on her shoulder. Good work, Jessica. The four friends stood there for a long time. They were tired, their bodies ached, and their hearts were heavy with the loss of life. But they were together. And they were free. The colony of Bastion had been lost for 300 years. It had been a lonely speck of dust in a giant, uncaring universe. But today, the universe knew they were there. The galaxy knew that on this small, dark rock, lived a tribe of humans who would not break. They were not the helpless children the aliens expected. They were the masters of their own fate. And they were prepared for whatever the stars threw at them next. As the last light of the sun faded, the lights of the city turned on. They were not warm yellow lights. They were cold, bright, white lights. They were the lights of a fortress. The lights of a people who would stand together until the very end. The war drums had beaten, the smoke had cleared, and the lost colony was lost no more.